Welcome back to the Big Sunday Show. Now, a new warning tonight about DNA companies and your personal information. Your DNA information can be sold and weaponized against you. The alarm being sounded. Listen to this.
You can actually take someone's DNA, take their medical profile, and you can target a biological weapon that will kill that person. And people will very rapidly spit into a cup and send it into 23andMe and get really interesting data about their background. And guess what? Their DNA is now owned by a private company and can be sold off. We have to have an open and public discussion about what does the protection of healthcare information, DNA information, and your data look like, because that data is actually going to be procured and collected by our adversaries for the development of these systems.
And before anybody goes crazy on this out there, that's a Democrat Congressman, Jason Crow, so not a right-wing talking point. I have been warning people about this for years, since 23andMe and all those spit in the vial, send it in. We're giving our information away. Health information is valuable information about you, and also the abuse and where the data is stored. You brought up that point in the break, Tammy. I want to go to you first. Who has the data matters here?
Well, you know, I am the product of an affair. I don't really know anything about my father. So this DNA stuff was fascinating and very important to me. I've learned so much about who I am that I never could have guessed. And that is because of DNA. It's not the data or DNA that's the problem. It's the companies or the countries that control the data. China, of course, over a decade ago, like they do everything, moved into this. We are allowing China in relationships with hospitals, buying up companies regarding medical data, involved in, when it comes to paternity and maternity, finding out about your fetus and the health of your baby as the baby's developing. It goes to China. The control and the knowledge, the data they have, to say nothing of hackings of hospitals, hackings of our health insurance companies, right? The Office of Personnel Management, Obamacare. Really, we're looking at China and Russia, et cetera. So in deals that the American government could control, we have less control over data. We're allowing foreign countries, enemies, to gather this data and, yes, to potentially use it. The fact that that discussion was at the Aspen gathering with American leadership, not in a cave somewhere on, like, ham radio with conspiracy theorists. They've known this for at least a decade, and our government has done nothing to change it. So my message is, it's not the data or learning about who you are that's the problem, any more than a firearm is the problem. It's whose hand is the data in. And that's what we are aware of when it comes to firearms, when it comes to the nature of this. We don't, it's like suddenly they're saying, don't use the data, don't use the, don't find this out. We need to be able to, but they're correct. Right now, our enemies have access to that information.
So Tammy brought up government, and there's a process that we have in various processes and a responsibility for Congress to deal with these companies that come into our country, invest, Chinese Communist Party controlled countries, the CFIUS process and others, which covers anything of national security interest. So to the former congressman here.
And the problem with CFIUS is the fact that you have the board members of CFIUS who are not just serving government and the people, they're looking for their next life outside of government. And so they'll make decisions that are not in Tammy's best interest, that the Chinese government's not going to get her DNA information.
Right.
They look at themselves and where they're going to work once they're out of government. The problem is, if I spit in a cup, that's one thing. But if my cousins or my parents or my siblings spit in a cup, they get my DNA regardless. And so when I was in Congress, we weren't dealing with DNA. We were dealing with social media privacy. Your information on the internet, on social media, should be yours. And people that are our age, I'm excluding Jackie, our age, we actually care about privacy. But everyone Jackie's age, they couldn't give a darn. They're like, take it, I don't care.
They haven't known it. They haven't known privacy.
Because they haven't known privacy. We have, and we've lost it. They've never known it, so they don't know what they're missing.
All right, so let's add another aspect to this.
Chicken.
Senator Joni Ernst weighed in on this. And by the way, let me add, how many of you have added your animal DNA out there to find out who your animals are from? But here's what Senator Joni Ernst had to say.
If we look at food security and what can our adversaries do with biological weapons that are directed at our animal agriculture, at our agricultural sector, hoof and mouth disease, highly pathogenic avian influenza, African swine fever. If targeted by an adversary, we know that it brings about food insecurity.
And she's 100% right. She's 100% right. And look, when it comes to data, the point that you made about social media and the fact that our data has been cannibalized for years now already, it should be no surprise to anybody that the 23andMe, for example, could turn into this. The weaponizing of it is something that we're all thinking about after COVID-19. If you subscribe to the theory, even if it was an accident that COVID originated in a lab, you can see the catastrophic consequences of what could happen there. And so people really need to think about what they subscribe to. The power that we have right now is not with Congress. It's actually with the individuals. And I tell people all the time, don't put Alexa in your house if you don't want people listening to you. Don't buy 23andMe if you're against what they're doing with the data. All we can do is stand up for ourselves and protect ourselves and not sort of follow the herd, follow the crowd.
To that point, because I have
my phone a listening device in and of itself, right? I mean, we've got them all with us
This was
right
a wake-up call in that I've got the Alexa, and I was like sitting around, and the Alexa chimed in and said, by the way, would you like us to tell you to drink some water if we hear you coughing? And it's like, no. What? First of all, does that mean you would need to be listening? It's like that is the under-the-ground permission.
Listening.
It is the permission to listen constantly, regardless of what it is you've asked it.
I got to go, I know, but I want to talk about cows and DNA. And is there a certain American DNA in American cows versus like cows?
Well, there is.
Well, we have different virologies, different systems. This is valuable information. The point
different lines.
Back to Tammy on this again. Who has the data? Who uses it?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.